What's going on, everybody, and welcome to the Other Side of the Firewall podcast, where we talk about the latest and greatest of cybersecurity news, as well as we highlight those movers and shakers and glass ceiling breakers, those people of color who've made it to the other side of the proverbial firewall. My name is Ryan Williams, and as always, I'm joined by Shannon.
What's up? What's up?
What's going on? Welcome to Friday's episode. Definitely continue to tune in throughout the week. So Monday we talked about a school system. Like now you got to tune in because what school system getting their network getting owned and them having to spend $10 million to fix the situation. On Tuesday we talk about cyber crime gangs and their ability to recruit top tier talent better than legal companies, and how they're paying six-figure salaries to these people to do nefarious things. On Wednesday we talk about a article on DE&I and how 2023 is going to be kind of a rough year. There's lots of layoffs. It's usually, or it seems to be, that it's going to impact women and minorities harder than everyone else, and kind of how we should do the opposite when it goes to 2023 and have that diversity of culture and mind and thinking in order to make you a strong, innovative company. But then we go into how that's not probably going to happen and how we hope to be wrong, right? We hope things are going to be optimistic coming out of 2023, but definitely tune for that. And then today is everything else. So that being said, how's your week, Shannon?
Man, I can't complain. Didn't do a lot of TV watching. I did start, and you kind of put me onto this. I did start the TV series Poker Face.
There it is.
Yeah, it was good. So I think the first two episodes, I was like, okay, yeah. The third one, I'm like, okay, kind of fell off a little bit, but I'm gonna keep watching. I'm gonna give it a shot. But yeah, it's got like some people in there that I like anyway, right? So like the last one I watched had Lil Rel Howery was one of the people in it, right?
So I'm about to start episode 3. Yeah. So I watched 1 and 2 today. Like, so I finished 1 and I started and finished 2. And like you said, like I'm okay. I like this. I like where it's going. I did not start the third one. Like the credits popped up, and I was like, "Oh, gotta go do the podcast."
Yeah, yeah. So, I, like I said, I like the first two. Third one, I was like, okay, right. And then because it's kind of, I don't know.
I like their spin on it, right? She's not a cop.
Yeah, she's not.
Yeah.
But like I expected, like the parts that you see in the first one kind of go away, like as you go farther into
I see what you're saying. Okay.
Investigative, prowess, I guess you could say, kind of goes away. Not goes away, but it's not as prevalent as it was in the first one. But yeah. Started watching that. Watched You People on Netflix.
How was that?
I liked it. I liked I laughed pretty good, and I saw some reviews where people were not feeling it, but it's one of those things where if you know Kenya Barris, you know what you're gonna get, right? Okay. And it's very much like that. So if you like Blackish, if you like Black AF, you know what I mean? Like you're gonna like this. It's just what he does, right? Like the stuff that he writes about is very race centric, you know what I mean? But some of the things were relatable, you know what I mean? It's just like, okay, yeah, I get that, but yeah, I liked it, and I laughed kind of hard, man. Because again, got some people in there. You got some actors in there that I follow. You know what I mean? I'm like, oh, that's cool, and they're in there being kind of funny. But yeah, that was a good one. Not much else. I mean, I watch Ridiculousness. It's a TV series where people do dumb stuff on video. That's pretty.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, but that's kind of it, man. No reading, you know what I mean? No reading of books, just that's kind of the extent of what I watched, actually, was that stuff. How about you?
So I did watch the first 2 episodes of Poker Face. I like it. I like their spin on it, and it has a lot of callbacks. Like I don't remember the episodes of Columbo thoroughly, right? Because I was a kid when I watched them, but I see her do certain mannerisms up, like, oh, she's like kind of doing her own take on him, right? Like she'll do the thing where she'll ask a question knowing the answer, you know what I mean? This is I was thinking. So she had the cigar where she still does the thing. She was like, I was thinking. And even the way it opens. So when the episodes open, you know how like back in the day the credits came first and then it would roll into whatever. So they do the same thing here. And and it kind of gives you that kind of callback. I think even the font, lettering, color, and all that stuff's the same too. But I have not gone back to check it, but it looks so familiar. So I'm like, okay, they definitely tap into nostalgia, but I don't know who the nostalgia is for though. Like, I don't know how many people are going to come over who like Columbo to watch this. I don't like. They must have done the statistics, because I found it completely by accident. And I was like, there's like an article said that if you like Columbo, you like this show. And I was like, that's a very deep cut. Like,
But you know what though, in this day and age, what's old is new again, right?
right.
Those things where like it is getting shown. It's like if you ever talk to somebody, so me and you, we're a little older, right? So when you talk to these new music heads, they were like, "Oh, did you hear that new blah blah song?" And you're like, "Yeah," like, but you know where that came from, right? And they have no idea, right?
Right.
Oh, you
Right.
didn't know that
Like,
was
yeah,
Diana Ross and the
they played
Supremes?
3 songs back to back actually on the radio the other day, and I was like, all 3 of these are sampled.
Yeah,
Like these.
yeah. But the younger generation now doesn't even know. You know what I mean? Like they have no clue, but they love it, right? They're like, "Oh man, that's
Right.
great." You know what I mean? It's like,
This beat's hot. It's like,
yeah, it
well, I
was,
mean, they just sped up this
yeah,
song.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
I actually said it. Oh man, what was it? There was one I popped on. I was like, why did they remake this? It was The Weeknd. The Weeknd has a remake. I think it's a 112 song or whatever, but he's doing the hook, and it's him. I think 21 Savage is on the track. I was just like, why did they redo this song? This is not, the first song was better. Like, but then you sound old.
Almost always it is though. That's the thing. I don't know. This is my get off my lawn moment, right? This is me,
Right.
the old head, being like, "No, it was better when Miss Diana Ross did it." You know what I mean? Like, type thing. Like, I don't know, man. Like, I hear it all the time. Like, because usually if I'm in the car with the family and whatnot, I can't listen to what I want to listen to, right? Because it's a little bit more mature for the children, you know. So I'll be listening to the radio or Sirius, and I'll be like, "Huh." I'll be like, "This is starting out," and like even for some of the chorus, like they will say the exact same words that they said in the old songs, and I'm like, "That's the exact same thing." You know what I mean? Like, yeah, it's wild to me, and I'm just I can't place it. I don't know. I don't know why. I, and here's the thing. That's probably how my parents felt too, right? Like when they heard the stuff that I listened to, they were like, "Why are you listening to that?" Like, that's Al Green, you know what I mean? Because
Right.
I was a
Right.
very big Biggie fan, right? And Diddy sampled everything, right? So like
Very
it's just
true.
like, oh, that's Rick James, that's Al Green, that's it. You know what I mean? It's like, oh wow, okay. So
Right. And a lot of those are like, so what's crazy though is you go down the rabbit hole. Like, I remember there was a karaoke song that popped up when I was in Turkey. I used to go do karaoke on Fridays. And they asked the DJ to play the song, but he played a different version. And we literally sat there, and like it was a table of like 4 or 5 people. We had 3 different people who sang the song. And we were trying to figure out like who sang it first. And it turns out it was like a remake of a remake of a remake. And I was like, damn, like we were doing the same thing. We were doing the same thing. I forget what it was. It was a country song though that I actually knew. I know very few country songs, but I knew the modern version, and the one he played was like in between. But then there was an argument of like, no, we should play the first one. It was great. I didn't sing it. I don't sing. So, but the song that I was thinking of for the weekend was "I Don't Want to Know." I think Mario Winans sang it. I can't sing it because this is gonna be recorded forever. But it's a song like "I Don't Want to Know If You Playing Games, Keep It on the Low." Like that's the hook.
oh uh
Who
uh
sings that song?
it's oh man.
It'll
No,
come back to you. But
yeah.
the Weeknd redid it, and I'm listening to it. And I'm like, this doesn't sound right. And then he's doing this thing where he's waving his voice. It's like he's like holding a note too long, it's quivering. I was like, yo, get that song back. Diddy said, give me my song back immediately. But yeah, that was one of them. And then
It
there was
is Mario Winans. It is
it
Mario.
was right.
Yeah.
Yeah. But but now it's the Weeknd. So listen to it later, and you'll be like, I like the original, which might not be the original. Now I think about it, because it's a Bad Boy song. He probably
Yeah.
took it from something.
I was gonna say, Diddy produced it, man. Like it probably came from somewhere
It
else.
probably came from somewhere else. So even I don't know where the original song came from. It's crazy. Great stuff. But I forget where we're going with that.
So we were talking about Columbo, and
Oh, right.
yeah. So it was
But
over.
yeah, I'm thoroughly enjoying the show. Like it's they show you the crime and then they show you how she tears it apart. But I like how, because she's not a cop and she seems to be on a timeline every show. Uh, she's kind of like drifting through these people's lives, and they did something terrible, and then she just ruins them. So like, because I didn't quite know where the first one was going to go, and then it's a abrupt end. I was like, whoa. And then the second episode, I'm just like, I don't know who is going to do it until it was done, and then just the way she tore it apart and then had to leave. Like she made them solve the crime. She gave them the evidence. She made them solve the crime, so then the person will get caught. I was like, okay, that's a different way of doing it, right? She's not the cop.
Yeah, but she gets them caught though. That's the thing.
Yeah,
she gets them caught. Yeah,
so
no,
so
it's a good series. I do like it. Like I said, I am going to continue to watch it. But like the Columbo, like I very much like Columbo, man. Like in Columbo, just like in this, they will show you the crime first, and they show how they got to the solution they get to. You know what I mean?
Yeah, super, super clever. I'm like, man, in this show, I'm like, you really missed out on your talent. you you should definitely be a private, like either detective or a PI or whatever, but maybe they'll get there. I don't know. But yeah, it's a good show. I'll definitely recommend it. So I watched Poker Face. I watched oh man, The Last of Us. So I watched the Last of Us episode 3, which destroyed the internet. Like either you loved it or you hated it. But if you hated it and you like, your reasoning behind it could be a little biased or a lot biased or what have you. But I thought he did a really good job, and it's not from the game, right? Like they took characters from the game and they made a whole story out of it, which I really enjoyed.
So one of the guys I work with, that's why he did not like it, because he loved the games, right? And
Yeah,
they did not follow the game on this, and it's good in the game. You know what I mean? So, but you were like,
it is, but I think that they potentially it's going to go for awards, but I think outside of that, I think they potentially are opening themselves up to expand the universe to make spinoffs. Like you got a beginning and an end for these characters, but there's 20 years in between, and they could potentially go back and mine that in a different series. Um, or not. Like they literally gave them a beginning and a conclusion. So it was like it was very self-contained, um, kind of like almost a movie in itself. Because in the game, I would say probably like less than an hour of gameplay involves these characters, and again, they have an end. But you kind of fill in the gaps by finding stuff. Like you'll find articles, stuff like that. And you kind of figure out the person's orientation and their relationship with the other person, all that stuff through context clues in the game. So it's very subtle. So it's not like punch you in the face type situation. But in the TV show, they fleshed out all of the like not all of the in between, because it jumps 20 years. But they give you a really solid foundation for the characters, and they give you a good send off for them as well. It's as good as you can do in The Last of Us, right? Every send off in The Last of Us is tragic. Like the movie, or not to say the game, even the happy endings are bad. So, so in the TV show, you have to do a little bit more exposition, right? And they did an amazing job. And they used a comedian for one of the characters from I think he was Parks and Rec, and he was in something else. Bill Offerman.
Nick Offerman.
Yeah, there it is. Because his name's Bill on the TV show
The one
or
was
on the Last of Us.
okay. Yeah, he's Ron Swanson
Yeah,
on
there you go.
Parks and
Yep.
Rec. Is that who it is? Yeah.
And yeah, and I read an article where he was not the first pick. He was not the first pick. The first pick was unavailable due to scheduling, and it was like COVID time. But then they explained why they picked him, because they picked a comedian to play a very serious role. Like he had a lot of range. So now I'm gonna go back and watch his stuff, and I'm like now I've seen him as as a as a non-comedic actor, like drama, all that stuff. I got to go back and now watch him as a comedian. It's kind of crazy. because I didn't really watch Parks and Rec and that stuff, but I'm interested tangentially because I want to see him in his environment or whatever. But in the article I read, they said that the guy who directed Breaking Bad, is it Gillen?
That I don't know.
Can't remember. But the reason that he picked comedic actors is he felt as though they have more range, in that comedy comes from a dark place sometimes, and they understand what someone in that mindset could be feeling, and they could tap into that to then make it funny. So like you have your what's his name? You have your Adam Sandler's, like he does sometimes he does like really good dramatic roles and what have you. You have your, who else was a comedic actor that did a really good job? Like in modern times.
Kevin Hart, I heard.
Yeah, I was gonna say Kevin Hart, like that show he did with Wesley Snipes. It was like, man, this like he has some really big range. They say they feel as though they can do that because like comedy comes from different areas, right? Like they have a lot of range to make something funny. And they can kind of tap into those things when they are doing their performances. And I feel they can. Like the character Bill had range. I was like, man, this is crazy. Like, so you've not checked out The Last of Us episode 3. I think like, I don't know if you should check it out because you like The Last of Us.
I didn't get to the first episode, so I'm not there.
But this one has, man, listen, I would say you might actually like this episode because it has nothing to do with the apocalypse, but it's set in the apocalypse. I don't know how to explain that.
All right, Ryan, you're pushing it. You got me to try Poker Face, and I like that one.
You're right. I'm not going to push my luck.
I'm not ready to take that leap. Go to the next.
I'm not going to push my luck. But no, it was good. It was a good episode. I can't wait for the fourth one tonight. I honestly don't know how they top episode 3. Like episode 1 was fantastic. Episode 2 was really good. Episode 3 seems as though that might be the apex with the non-main story characters. So now I think they're going to have to do some work with Pedro Pascal, and I forget the young actress's name, to get them there, because they took these 2 characters, they made an entire hour-long episode out of it, and then they kind of put their main characters through it quickly to hopefully get to. I don't know. I can't finish that thought, because what's crazy about it though is if season 1 ends where the first game ends, like I don't know how they get there from where they're currently at with the time they have left, right? Because a game takes 20 to 30 hours to play through. You're learning about these characters and these people. They only have maybe 4 more, or no, would it be 5 more episodes? They might have 5 more episodes to get to where the game got. I don't know how they do that, but obviously they do, right? When they were going through the adaptation process, they kind of could figure out where they wanted to go. But they have a lot of material to still cover, because they took an entire episode focused on characters that are not main characters, right? So they lost an hour, which was great. It was a great hour of television, but now they only have so many more hours to flesh out the Joel and Ellie story to get to the conclusion of the first game, if that's their intent.
Well, here's the thing: they could have just made it to where they just split it in half, right?
So that would be more plausible. But I don't know if they have that. I don't know if they keep people's attention for that long. That's the thing. Like, because they can cut and they can change, because their audience is bigger than the gaming audience. But I think,
well, if every so often you're going to throw in your own original storyline, you can stretch that, right?
You could. That's true. And then it can end in season 2 and maybe pick up, because they have plenty of more material for part 2, because part 2 is also an excellent game. I would say part 2 is more uncomfortable to play than part 1, which is crazy to me. Like it's weird. I enjoyed playing part 2. The mechanics were solid. The story was engaging. I did not enjoy being that character and doing what I had to do to get through the game. Like I can't explain. Is it something that games can do that movies and books cannot? But
well, now you know.
I never went back.
You know,
I
you're not
never
a
played part two
psychopath
yet.
now because you're like, man, I have feelings about the way this went down, right? So
Right.
you're not a robot, you're not a psychopath, so you're good to go.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see myself playing part one again. The only thing I didn't like was the ending of part one. Like I liked it, don't get me wrong. You lose agency, so you feel really uncomfortable. Like it's perfect game, perfect ending. But the whole time you feel like you're Joe, you and Joe have the same goals in mind when it comes to getting Ellie to where you're supposed to get her, and then something happens at the end, and I was just like, oh, I didn't like that. I didn't like having to do that. You lose that player agency, and you had to do something that you didn't want to do, but Joe had to do it. So you are Joe in that respect. Then part two, the whole time, just like, oh, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. So they did a really good job. So I can only imagine the adaptation will be brilliant. The opposite of Halo, because Halo was terrible. They did a terrible job in adapting Halo. What else? So I watched the Last of Us. I watched Poker Face, and I beat God of War finally. God of War Ragnarok. I beat yesterday morning, or at least I rolled the credits. Right. I have not beat that game. The tracker says I put in 35 hours. You said you put in 80.
Yeah, close to 80. I do the side missions and stuff though.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
And I
so
was leaving stuff behind, like legitimately, because I knew the credits were close to being rolled. I got to an area. I showed you the picture of that dragon that was giving me the business.
yeah,
And there was so much more stuff in there. And I'm like, is this just scratching the surface of all the extra content in this game?
yeah.
I was like, I gotta finish this game first, and I'll go back. My son, he saw me roll credits, and he was like, you're not going back. I was like, but I have to. I have another 50 hours or so of game in there that I got to mine and get out. Like you definitely get good value for your money. Um, and all Naughty Dog games. So that includes this is Sony Santa Monica. Yeah, Sony Santa Monica made God of War, not Naughty Dog. Naughty Dog did The Last of Us and Uncharted and Crash Bandicoot. It's weird. But yeah, that's their lineage. So if you play like an Uncharted game, like you can actually play Crash Bandicoot in the game because they made Crash Bandicoot. Yeah. But Sony Santa Monica made God of War. But yeah, there's so much content. Like I didn't go back and play the 2018 version. I beat it. I wrote credits and I let it go. But I feel compelled to go back because there's so much. Like someone spent hours of their life to make this content I skipped over, which blows my mind that they would offer such a thing. Like when they go through the stats, I would be like, no one played this. I made this. And they skipped it.
And that's why these games take so long too, right? Like it's a 4-year difference between the two, a 4-year time frame that went between the games. You know what I mean? Because there's like you got these fights you could do, you got these fights you could do, you could fight berserkers, you could do this, you could do like it's just
right.
Chain, man. Like
someone took the time to make an asset like a rock and put texture on that asset and put it somewhere, and I did not see that rock. You know what I mean? Like that's crazy to me. They created all this stuff. I did not see it. I feel bad. Like I have to go back. And not only that, but it's actually fun, right? Like after I beat that dragon, I was like, man, I know there's more of those out there, or at least other creatures like that. And I was like, I kind of want to go beat them too.
So you fought one dragon?
Yeah, just that one. I was saving one of the guys. Oh man, I'm already forgetting names, but is it Freya? So Freya's brother had a party, and you go pick him up, and you're on that boat, and then he jumps into the dragon, and when it saved him from that dragon. You shoot fireworks on the ground to show you where he was at, and then the dragon kept like every time I would get engaged in a different fight, the dragon would come in and mess with me.
But you didn't even fight all the dragons.
No, this is that one.
It's more.
There's more dragons. That's the only dragon I fought. The whole game.
Look, I told you because I go through and do everything. Like when they say something, I listen to it and I'm like, oh,
I do the same thing. Okay, and it bothers me having things on my map. Like I need to go see those things, but I was like, I have to beat this game. I have to beat it so that way I have options to move on from it. And it was great. It was a good game. Like I definitely cannot wait for the next one. I hope whatever the next iteration is only PS5. I know some people still haven't made the leap yet, but There's more stock out there. You should definitely get one because this game was gorgeous, but it runs on a PS4. So I know there's stuff they could not do. They had to take off the table to make it run on the PS4.
This look, if they wait another 4 years, the PS6 will be close to release. Seriously, no. So think about this, right? So it's usually about 7 years, right? Like
Yeah,
they
like
get
roughly 7.
out of their consoles. So
Yeah.
it's already been out for 2, right? In November when it dropped, it was out for 2 already, right? So if they wait another 4 years, they're like a year away from coming up to the next console. They're not putting time into developing for the last gen. I don't know what
Right.
you call it, right? Like the legacy, legacy PS5. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
PS4. They're not doing that.
Yeah. If it takes longer, it could be on situations like what was it? I think it was God of War, was it 2? Excuse me. That came out for the old console and the new console was already out. I think I was playing it on the PS2, the PS3 was already out or something like that. Something weird happened like that. But then you have like your Breath of the Wild came out on the Wii and the Wii U, right? Or no, I'm sorry, it came out the Wii U and the Switch. So it could be that it drops on PS5 and PS6. But I think this console generation is going to be longer, only because of all the COVID stuff. I think 7 years is normal and typical. It might stretch a little bit longer than that because they couldn't make them to sell them,
Supply
and
issue.
then B, all of the pipeline issues, right? So you have games that have been pushed back several years over and over and over again. So it might be like an 8-year console cycle, which wouldn't be bad though, because like people can get their hands on the consoles, and then B, we still haven't seen the capabilities because they've had to bridge the gap by putting these games on 2 variants, two different generations, because people can't even find a PS5, right? So they have to make it available for people who have a PS4 to make that money. So I think we could get a longer stretch, like maybe 8 years, because it seems like forever though. Like an 8-year-old PC is not good.
See, but here's the thing though. So like I don't know. I think they would probably try to force people to the newer consoles. Like I don't think they cater to the PS4 people, because by this time the PS5s will be cheaper, right? As always
Right.
is the console price will go down.
You would hope so. The PS5 went up. So in other territories, it went up in
What?
price. Yeah. Because they parts, like the pipeline is so jacked up, like silicone or silicon, and I forget what else. Was hard to find. So it went up in price. Like the Oculus that my kids are not playing with, that went up $100. It was already out. It went up $100. So yeah, I don't know. Like everything is just weird.
We'll see what happens with that, because I know, what was it, Sweden that just found that not mine, but they found that mound of precious metals that used to make
Really?
and whatnot. I think it was Sweden found like some ungodly amount of tons of precious metals that we use in like our electronics now. Because you know how China's going to have the hold on that, right? Because they were like,
right.
go do this, that, and the third, and they're gonna put a stranglehold on it. But I think it was one of those Nordic countries, Sweden, Denmark, something like that. Just found a cache of it, like a bunch of tons, a bunch of tons.
Okay.
Of it. So, yeah,
I did not heard that, but yeah, that would definitely help out, right?
Mind you, it's going to take
more
years to get to it. It's going to take them some years to get to it, right? To
Mhm.
mine it and do all that. Like they said, it could be up to 10 years or something like that. But
okay.
Yeah. So we'll see.
Yeah. We'll see. Like I'm definitely excited to see what comes in the future. Like there's a ton of games coming out this year too. So that's why I had to get through this one, so I have options, right? I might never finish it. I would love to 100% it, but then if I 100% this one, I didn't 100% the first one. I can't go back. I can't go back to 2018 God of War. Mechanics just will not feel as good.
You know what though? Yeah, I hear you, man. Like you're very big into the game playing, and you're like, I want to play this, and this. Like for me, the old fuddy duddy that I am, I play like 2 games a year. You know what I mean? So like I could put in the almost 80 hours of doing whatever, because it's like I'm not gonna get another game until like Madden comes out next year. You know what I'm saying? So for me, I'm just not into it like that. Like I used to be. So
yeah, you got Spider-Man 2 is about to drop. I still have to get through Spider-Man and Miles Morales. I haven't finished either one of those.
Okay. So wait a minute, I lied. So Spider-Man 2 is about to drop. If it drops before Madden,
I think this fall. I think this fall. So it'll be Madden, because Madden's like August, right?
August, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm thinking fall holiday time frame, if it does come out, right? But everything is pushed. And then what else is in the pipe? You have that. You have Starfield. Like anything on Xbox is gonna be on Game Pass. So I don't even have to worry about that. Like I pay for my Game Pass subscription. I just get to play it, right? But on the PS5 side, I can't remember what else is coming out. I think it's Final Fantasy Rebirth, or no, I don't think that has a date. So it's whatever just came out. I think Crisis Core came out, so they remade a Final Fantasy 7 game. It was like a spinoff that was only on the PSP. They remade it. It's on the PS4, PS5, I think the Switch, some other stuff. So I got to go back and play that. It's a ton of games though. Like Dead Space just dropped. I think I might wait for that to go on sale though, because I already played that game. Resident Evil 4 is about to drop.
The Suicide Squad one? Is that the one you're thinking about? Or did that drop
Suicide.
already?
Did that got pushed though, didn't it?
Did it? Okay.
Kill Justice League.
Yeah, there it is.
Suicide Squad. Yeah, that got pushed, I believe. Did it get pushed to this year or did it get pushed to next year?
I don't know.
I don't remember. There's so many of these games, man. Like people are just now starting to like get back on track and getting these things done. And these projects take years to come to fruition. So it might be this year, but it might be next year for Kill the Justice League. But there was something else. I don't know. So there's a ton of games. I can't be sitting here 80 hours, Shannon, playing just one.
I got you, man. I hear you.
12 more to play. No, I don't know how many.
Your interests are more varied than mine are when it comes to video games. Like you can get into some like all types of different stuff. Like for me, it's just like, nah, sports, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'll be a shooter every so often, you know what I mean? Like the only one I really did a lot of this years ago was Gears of War. Like when Gears of War came out, and
I can't wait for the next Gears to come out. But I think the only thing I've ever seen about Gears 6 was a tech demo to show it's being moved from Unreal Engine 4 to 5 or whatever like that. Like so, like whatever the newest Unreal Engine, they showed a demo of an eyeball that looked like a real human eyeball. Like so, they're already on to the next thing, right? So that one will not be backwards compatible. Like that UE5 stuff will only be on the until, at least in my opinion, they should be developing them only for the next gen. I'm sure the engine can work previous consoles, but let's move on. Let's force people to buy the new thing is now available. You go in the store and actually find a PS5. At least this is what they say. I've not seen one myself.
Really? I've seen
not
them
yet.
Shows, yeah, I've seen them.
Okay.
So Xboxes are still hard to come by. So I've seen the S every so often, but an X, I don't think I've ever seen an X in person. Like I just haven't.
See, it's the opposite. I never saw PS5 in person, but I would see S's and X at the BX.
Wow.
Yeah. Maybe it's just where you live at, right? Like, however they're getting this stuff out to you.
Could be. That could be.
Yeah. But aside from that, I think I'm going to watch Wakanda Forever later today because it's streaming on Disney Plus. I'm gonna watch another episode of Poker Face at some point, and then The Last of Us. So I got plenty of TV to watch. I think I am going to jump back into God of War as I wait for something else like, excuse me, like Resident Evil 4 to drop. Then I'll have to jump over to that.
We're gonna call you on that every week now.
But you play God of War?
Play God of War again? Like, no, man, I ain't get back on there. Like, all right. You know,
there's so much stuff. There's so much stuff for me to get out there, man. And then the wait between this one and the next one is gonna be so long. I just keep playing it, right? But the I don't want to forget mechanics. These are easier than Horizon. Like every time I play for Horizon, I start from scratch. At some point I got to play Horizon. I gotta beat that one so I can play the second one.
I still haven't started the second one up. Like I told myself, I was like, because I love the first one. The first one I put 100 some odd hours in, right? Like again, because all the side stuff you can do, right? Like I put a lot of time into it, and when I played it, it was on PlayStation, whatever that is, whatever their
like collection or plus or premium. Like they can't make up their mind.
They keep changing the name. It was on whatever that was, so it was the DLC too, right? So it was like the winter part that was up in the mountain. Like I had all that extra stuff with it too, and I was like, I might as well play. I'm already here. I might as well play it. You know what I mean? Might as well get it. But yeah, so but yeah, I didn't start the second one yet, but that might be what I do. I don't know, because I'm not even 100% on God of War. Like there's stuff I can still do. Like there's still
that's crazy.
stuff remaining after the fact. Yeah, man, I'm just like, but at 80, almost 80 hours, it got to a point where it's like, okay, it is seeming kind of repetitive now, right? But again, it was 80 hours I put in, you know what I mean? So it was a long time, almost 80 hours. So yeah, I was like, all right, it's getting repetitive. So it's not like I really need to see those things. It's just an iteration of something I've already seen, right? Like already something I've done 8 times already. You just gave them a different name, added something a little different. So but I'm guessing, right? It could be all different. I don't know because I'm not gonna go back to it, but still.
Right. Yeah. No, that's true though. But yeah, I'm definitely gonna. I'll go back. There's some stuff on the Xbox I want to play. I downloaded Persona 3, 4, and 5. Right, they're all on Game Pass now. I might jump on one of those. I don't know. Sky's the limit, right? So a wealth of content and games. Especially if you have Game Pass. So I'm buying the PS5 stuff, but not even that. Like, so the Spider-Man stuff I got for being, I forget, I'm PSN Premium or whatever. And then there's some other stuff in that collection I need to play as well, like your was it Demon Souls or Dark Souls, like those games that make you very frustrated because you will die a lot in them. So there's that. So I don't know. Sky's the limit. Like, ask me next week. What did you play? But with that being said, I think we pretty much wrapped up this episode. Definitely continue to tune in throughout the week. So definitely listen to, if you have not already, go back to Monday and Tuesdays topics, Wednesday's discussion, and then subscribe. So the way in the future you get our episodes as they drop Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Fridays. So with that being said, stay safe, stay secure.